The shonen genre has been one of the cornerstones of anime since man realized the idea of one spunky muscly dude punching another spunky muscly dude could be a form of entertainment, and has shaped many of our fandoms in anime. Dragon Ball Z, the definitive shonen title that defined many of our childhoods that remains to this day. The big three, powerhouse shows that led the charge and are likely the reasons many of you are anime fans now. Fairy Tail, a slightly smaller hit than the three powerhouses, which I can objectively say after watching it was definitely time spent. Innovation is not something we normally praise in the genre, as the standard formula has been seen many times, and that's fine. We all know what we're getting into at this point, so even if a series doesn't have many original ideas, it's kind of hard to really fuck up as long as you know what you're doing. Oh, hey there, Black Clover. Nice of you to join us. Here, why don't you take a seat right there next to Hiro Aka? Oh no, he's been drinking again. This season, Black Clover has definitely become everyone's new favorite punching bag. So as your friendly neighborhood shonen trash fuckboy, of course I would take it upon myself to investigate the hate behind the show as to what it is that could have possibly riled people up so much. This was meant to be the new king of shonen, at least it was according to Crunchyroll's marketing department. As with its rise to become one of the top new manga currently running in Shonen Jump, a lot of eggs were put in this basket for it to become the new golden goose of anime. And with this proverbial hype and the fact that it had to come on stage following My Hero Academia's rise to fame, the setup was there for a huge disappointment, which Black Clover excitedly ran into like the loud special child that it was. There was this moment when I was watching a spunky, spiky-haired, hard-working protagonist who has no magic powers whatsoever, with a naturally talented brooding rival who he may or may not be furiously bumming behind the shed, find out that he in fact possesses a special power which he and only he can wield, allowing him to pursue his dreams of being the Wizard King and the very best that no one ever was. That it slowly dawned on me that I might have seen this somewhere before. But where? I pondered, and while racking my memories, I concluded that perhaps it was that one show called literally every shonen battle anime created ever. It wasn't that the premise was reminiscent of other shows, it's that the series unashamedly pulls from the list of every generic shonen cliche you can think of that can be interchanged from any other series. You have your edgy rival, a loudmouth kid screaming about how he wants to be king of the pirates in the Hidden Leaf Village, the captains of the Gotei 13, the Guild of Outcast Mages, and in a world where most people get the 3-leaf clover and you know is hailed as a genius for having the 4-leaf clover, Asta, of course, gets the legendary power of the 5-tailed devil fruit. Overpowered ability cancelling ability? Check. Tsundere love interest? Check. And gold star. You may be wondering how I can be criticizing the abundant use of generic shonen tropes when for the past year I've been easing off my stiffy and how My Hero Academia revels in these same tropes without doing anything entirely new, and to that I say that Black Clover feels like it's lacking something very important behind it. The heart. With shows like Hunter With shows like Hunter x Hunter, JoJo's, and One Punch Man really pushing the boundary of leftover originality in the genre, I would say that most things that can be done have been done, and I'm fine with that because that means we are more focused on the execution. But here there seems to be no rhyme or reason as to why there's such a cesspool of uninspired cliches, which is a subtle but important difference to the titles that it draws from. For example, Naruto established right at the beginning that the reason he was a loud, brash, annoying cunt was because it was his way of getting attention to himself after being outcast his entire life, and it was because of this that it was so satisfying to see him slowly mature and gain acceptance from the people around him. On the flip side, Asta's reasoning for being a loud, annoying cunt seems to be because he was hit on the head one too many times as a kid. Hiro Aka. Todoroki's rivalry with Deku stems from his upbringing, causing his desire to prove he is far beyond Deku, who is reminiscent of All Might, the cause of his abusive childhood. While Yuno's strong sense of seeing Asta as his personal rival stems from seeing that he got hit on the head one too many times as a kid. I'm not even lying, that's like his special ability. My point is that all these cliche elements that are present seem to be there simply because they are marketable and popular and for no other reason other than that. It feels disingenuous as it doesn't seem like any thought has been put into why or how they define our characters, their relationships, and the world around them. In fact, initial world building boils down to characters periodically drawing us close so they can subtly remind us, Hey you. Have you heard that in this world, magic is everything? They are there because on the surface, these traits have stood out in popular Shounen Jump titles. Individually, we'd mostly just chalk these things up to, hey, it's just Shounen, just let Shounen be Shounen. But put together, and the show feels like it was made by a committee of people, marking off a checklist from their How to Write a Shounen Battle Series for Dummies book. And while these problems stems from the actual start of the manga, it doesn't seem like a great adaptation either, as I wouldn't be able to get through a Black Clover video without mentioning Asta's chalkboard grating, high-pitched screeching, ear-bleed inducing screaming that just makes you want to go let's use our indoor voice. While I am reluctant to say that if you get used to his voice, the experience as a whole gets better, as such a sentence is akin to telling someone getting stabbed repeatedly in the testicles isn't so bad once the adrenaline kicks in to mask the agonizing pain. I will say that enduring 6 episodes now, the screaming has gotten bearable, but it's still one of the few shows I can at least recommend the dub without getting lynched for it. I would say reading the manga made my experience better, but his screams had permeated my conscience so deeply that I was still hearing it in my head as I was reading, like a growing tumour that was killing me from the inside. As it stands, it's just an unnecessary barrier to the anime, which is only a problem exclusive to the anime. But Gigguk, I hear you shouting in disbelief. Surely you don't mean to say that the studio that gave us such perfect anime adaptations as edgy sparkly vampire zombies makes boy walk for 20 hours could be handling the show badly. And, well, I'm sorry to break it to you kids, but Studio Parrot are back at it again, this time reintroducing us to a concept I have very happily not had to talk about for a very long time. Filler. Filler for you newer anime fans who didn't have to sit through such masterpieces as Naruto's shadow clones going on strike for their unsatisfactory work conditions is normally anime original content which can take the form of scenes, episodes, or entire fucking seasons that don't actually progress the plot in any way and fill up the time. Now if you're a new anime fan and this is the first you're hearing about this, then you may be thinking, wow, that sounds like an awful idea that's stupidly annoying to have to sit through and endure just to watch a show, and yeah. It was. It really was. But there was a point to it, which was to allow the manga to get ahead before the anime caught up to it, as a general rule of thumb would have 2 or 3 chapters being adapted per anime episode. In the modern era of seasonal anime though, this concept has been mostly phased out, with shows at most putting out new seasons once a year, giving a very defined gap for the manga to get ahead with new material without the anime needing to fear of catching up, which I'm very grateful for. New age shonen like Hero Aka, Shokugeki and Haikyuu have benefited from this greatly, as all the material animated has been top-notch without any weird pacing issues that shonen used to be known for. So it absolutely baffles me why so much filler has been added to the first few episodes of Black Clover when there is no reason to. Currently the first 6 episodes cover 4 chapters, which if you've studied maths in school, you'd be able to figure out that that's on average less than 1 chapter per anime episode. It's not even good filler. 3 minutes of recap are added at the start of every episode, and the rest of the padded runtime is just filled with more of Asta's screeching voice. It's as though the studio were prepping for the anime to catch up to the manga at episode 1, giving us a blisteringly slow pace, and the worst thing is that unlike the OG filler episodes and arcs, which can at least be skipped, the problem with these episodes is that they are just really slowly paced. And the reason I bring up all these criticisms is because Black Clover shouldn't be this bad. I'm sorry, it shouldn't be this bad. I read ahead in the manga, ready to just revel in the worst that Shonen Jump has to offer, and to my surprise, it actually wasn't that bad. In fact, there comes a point when I would say that it becomes kind of good. There are definitely more clearly defined strengths that the series holds. The fun really comes from the introduction of the big ensemble cast, and the variety there is not only with the cast members, but the special magic that everyone is capable of. Combine this with the pacing, which for a shonen is blisteringly fast, which is a good thing in my opinion, because shonen as a whole is normally paced slower than your average show, even without filler because of how much time they have to work with. But there always feels like there is progression in every single chapter of Black Clover, which is a rarity for this genre. While it is still nothing groundbreaking, the the series is just bundles of fun, and it has its moments, so I certainly see it gaining a fair bit of popularity, despite it seemingly trying its damned hardest to put viewers off early. It's just a shonen for pure shonen lovers, and there's enough here that I feel could be very worth revisiting when and if the anime gets to these points, because as it stands, Black Clover is the perfect case study of how not to start a show, both in the introduction to a premise and the execution of adapting the manga. As an adaptation, it feels like a dated piece of work, but despite all this, somehow I just can't find myself completely hating it. It has this weird phenomenon where I can spend an entire episode complaining about how badly the show is executed and how I lose a bit of my soul every time I hear Asta scream, only to find myself clicking on that next episode button anyway because there was that really cool bit of animation or they stopped before an event where I just want to see what happens next. And at the time I wasn't sure if I was just suffering from Stockholm Syndrome or if there was something else actually there. Is Black Clover the new king of shonen? Fuck no. But what I can say is that it has the potential to be a very popular show, if the rest of the series is handled decently. I very much doubt this will be the last time I talk about it, as I predict it will be one of those shows that splits the anime community faster than Moses parted the Red Sea. But at this current point, it's just taking baby steps, and literally the first thing it needs to do is stop fucking screaming! Jesus Christ, did someone get him a fucking muffler?
やばい、今のとこ俺ずっと叫んでるだけだ。
That's it. That's the fucking show. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much this month to Elifal, Robert Harnborg, K Must Live, Basil, Lee Watts, and everyone else on Patreon for helping to support me for this month and making this video possible. A quick update, if you still want a chance to win a REM figure, or more importantly, an exclusive REM and RAM trash bin, you have 1 day left to buy any volume of the ReZero light novel or manga from Bookwalker. And if you use coupon code Gigguk, that means you only need to spend less than $2 to do so. Links in the description. Anyway, that's it from me. Sorry you didn't get to see my lovely face today, but I didn't get time to film this in live action. But I've been Gigguk, and I will see you all next time.